morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is English Bulletin with me, Yutsab Bhattrai. The top stories first. NCP leaders demand Central Committee meeting, initiate signature campaign to resolve internal problems of the party. Nepali Congress leadership face backlash ahead of General Convention. Rival faction says setting up departments would influence election. Mahabodha marketplace sealed after confirmation of coronavirus cases. 2 entrepreneurs test positive for the disease. US coronavirus death top 150,000. Toll ranks 6th in the death per capita globally. And Juventus lose to Calgary as Ronaldo draws blank. Star striker loses ground on European Golden Boot race. And now the news in detail. Central Committee members of the ruling Nepal Communist Party have demanded the party leadership to summon its Central Committee meeting. Altogether, 152 Central Committee members collected signatures and submitted a memorandum to the party headquarters in this regard. A report.
NCP leaders have called for the Central Committee meeting to end the internal rift seen within the party, stating that the Standing Committee meeting, which has been postponed time and again since June 24th, has failed to sort out the issue the leaders demanded for the Central Committee meeting. They pointed out the need of the Central Committee meeting to resolve all contentious issues through a certain process outlined in the party statute.
हामीले के सोच्यौं भने यो पार्टीको यति गम्भीर समस्या पर्दा केन्द्रीय कमिटी मौन रहनु उपयुक्त हुँदैन। पार्टीको सबैभन्दा सर्वोच्च निकाय केन्द्रीय कमिटी हो। केन्द्रीय कमिटीमा प्रत्येक साना मसिना कुराहरू विवादहरू हल गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो मान्यता अन्तर्गत हामीले केन्द्रीय कमिटीको बैठक आज बोलाउनको निम्ति पार्टी कार्यालयलाई विधानतः बोलाउने हक प्रयोग गरेर हामीले यो बैठक बोलाएका छौं।
The Central Committee members had decided to initiate a signature campaign to call the meeting during a recent Zoom meeting. They sought signature of all the leaders from outside the valley through email. In the memorandum, the leaders said that it has become absolutely necessary to call the Central Committee meeting.
एकता आजको आवश्यकता हो। त्यसको लागि केन्द्रीय कमिटीको बैठक चाहिँ आवश्यक पर्यो भन्ने हामीलाई लाग्यो र हामीले त्यो माग गरेका छौं।
Clause 59A of the party's statute has a provision to call the Central Committee meeting within 1 month upon written request from 25% of the Central Committee members. NCP has altogether 441 Central Committee members. Signature of 110 members is enough to call the Central Committee meeting. As per the party's statute, the Central Committee meeting should be held every 6 months. Last time, NCP had called its Central Committee meeting exactly 6 months ago.
Now, the senior leader Ramchandra Paudel of the main opposition Nepali Congress has expressed discontent against President Sher Bahadur Deuba's decision to establish different departments of the party, especially when the work schedule to convene the 14th General Convention this February has already been announced. Paudel and his panel yesterday gathered at the party headquarters in Sanipa and protested against the president's move. A report.
Statute of Nepali Congress, the party must step up various departments within 6 months of convening the General Convention. However, setting up of party departments by President Deuba and his allies ahead of the election during the 14th General Convention is expected to affect the results as is unjustifiable, Leader Paudel said. Central Committee members close to Leader Paudel also organized a separate meeting after President Deuba started appointing office bearers and members of 20 such departments, which he set up last February. Leader Paudel and his panel had also registered a complaint with NC's election committee to discard all recent decisions made by President Deuba in accordance to the party's statute and party's code of conduct. The committee nevertheless failed to address the concerns. Leaders of the establishment faction nonetheless have supported President Deoba's decision, stating that creating departments is a regular process to dispense responsibilities to cadres and leaders throughout the country.
In other news, the State Affairs and Good Governance Committee of Lower House formed subcommittees to study the annual reports of 3 constitutional commissions. A meeting of the committee on Wednesday decided to study the reports of the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, Election Commission and Public Service Commission. Chairperson of the committee, Shashi Shrestha, informed that the subcommittees were formed as per the parliamentary provision of forming such panels to probe into different areas.
लोकसेवा आयोगको वार्षिक प्रतिवेदन अध्ययन उपसमिति माननीय श्री ढिला संग्रौला, माननीय श्री विजय सुब्बा, माननीय श्री रामसाय प्रसाद यादव, माननीय श्री लक्ष्मी कुमारी चौधरी। निर्वाचन आयोगको वार्षिक प्रतिवेदन अध्ययन उपसमितिमा संयोजक माननीय श्री यशोदा सुवेदी, लोकसेवा आयोगको वार्षिक प्रतिवेदन अध्ययन उपसमितिमा माननीय श्री विजय सुब्बा।
All the subcommittees have been authorized to prepare their internal work schedule independently to study the reports. Although the subcommittees can have a maximum of 5 members, Chairperson Shrestha informed that all 3 panels have only 4 members. The subcommittees have been mandated to study the annual reports and submit its report to the full committee. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. We continue with other national news. The total number of coronavirus cases in the country has reached 19,273. The Health Ministry informed yesterday that 14,021 persons have so far recovered from the disease and already returned home. Meanwhile, 5,203 persons are still undergoing treatment in isolation at various hospitals. Currently, 14,471 persons are kept in quarantine facilities across the country. The virus has claimed 49 lives in the country till date. Meanwhile, Mahabodha, one of the busiest markets in Kathmandu Valley, has been sealed completely after 2 cases of coronavirus were confirmed among the local business entrepreneurs. All shops between the Ganesh temple in Mahabodha to the stupa have been sealed and closed. A report.
Kathmandu Metropolitan City Ward number 27 Mahabodha has one of the busiest markets in Kathmandu. However, it has been sealed completely after 2 members of a family working in a clothes shop were diagnosed with coronavirus. The Ward 27 office issued a notice after confirmation of 2 positive cases, urging everyone who have come in contact with the shop owners or those who have visited the shop to get tested for coronavirus. The ward office has already tested more than 300 people after contact tracing the confirmed 2 cases.
मैले पनि बजार पसल मैले पनि बन्द गरेको थिएँ अनि मेरो चाहिँ यो मास्कको आइटम भएको कारणले मैले पनि भर्खरै खोल्दै र चाहिँ मिलाउँदै छु। अब परीक्षणको हामी प्रतीक्षामा बसिरहेका छौँ। हामी सबैजनाको चाहिँ यहाँ जति व्यापारी साथीभाइ हुनुहुन्छ उहाँहरूको सबैको परीक्षण भएको छ।
यो वरपरको पसलहरुमा चाहिँ अलिकति त्रसितको अवस्था देखिया छ। अब आज मात्र यहाँ चाहिँ पीसीआर टेस्ट गरिएको छ। अब यो पीसीआर टेस्ट पछि अब त्यसको नतिजा आएपछि अब के हुन्छ थाहा छैन। अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ यहाँतिर अलिकति कस्टमरहरुलाई र यहाँको व्यापारीलाई अलिकति त्रसित भएको अवस्था छ अहिले चाहिँ।
However, some business owners are keeping their shops open even as the local administrative office has called for all shops to be closed. Police have been patrolling the area to stop any shops from opening.
व्यापारी पनि आफूले काम पर्दाखेरि महिना दिन बन्द गरेर राख्ने केही मतलब हुँदैन। यस्तो रोग लागेछ भोलि 2 दिन 1 दिन पसल खोल्न नपाए भने त मरुन्जेल जस्तो गर्दैछ। के हो व्यापारीको पनि हामीले बुझ्न सकेन के हामीले पनि यो हामीले पनि यहाँ पसल बन्द गरौँ 2 दिन यस्तो यस्तो भन्दाखेरि कोही पनि नमान्ने जबसम्म प्रशासनले हस्तक्षेप गर्दैन तबसम्म कोही नमान्ने
The ward office has said all shops from Ganesh Temple to the stupa will be sealed until the owners are tested for coronavirus through the PCR method and the results turn negative.
A probe committee has been formed to investigate the incident surrounding 14.5 kg gold and 2 pistols retrieved from Kathmandu on Tuesday. The probe committee will be led by SSP Deepak Thapa, head of Metropolitan Police Office, Rani Pokhari. The probe committee also consists of SSP Kiran Bajracharya, SP Somendra Singh Rathore, SP Durga Dahal and DSP Rajkumar KC. Police has made a failed attempt to confiscate a Scorpio vehicle with registration number BA6CHA 5519 from where the fake gold and pistols were recovered. Police had been chasing the same vehicle until it got out of sight after dumping a white cotton bag near Nabal Bank, Kamaladi, police informed. The same bag contained 15 kg gold and 2 pistols. It was discovered later that only half kilo of the gold was a real gold. And now the news from economic front. With the permission from the government, hotels and restaurants are set to open from today. The hotels and restaurants officially reopen from today for the first time after the coronavirus-ensued lockdown. However, as the number of cases of coronavirus is not dropping down, risk of infection is higher now more than ever. The hotels and restaurants businesses have assured everyone that all safety precautions are being taken to prevent any guest from being exposed to infection. They have also decided to follow World Health Organization and the government's directive to maintain health safety within their premises. The hotel staffers will check for fever of each guest, demand for a PCR negative report, help maintain physical distancing, and all checked-out hotel rooms will be kept empty for 48 hours after they are disinfected. The hotel staffers will have to mandatorily wear masks, PPEs and all other health safety equipment while also adhering to the physical distancing protocols. The share market index NIPSE has been on the fall since a couple of days. The NIPSE index fell by 23 points yesterday to reach 1,451 points. The sensitive index, which measures for the classes A indices in the share market, also fell by 5 points. All indices on Wednesday saw some drops in the market. Although the share market fell for the most part, investors of 2 companies, United Hydropower and Joshi Hydropower Development Company, earned a 10% profit. However, investors of Jana Uttan Community Microfinance Development Bank faced a loss of roughly 10%. A total of 187 companies were involved in 3.83 million units of shares transaction, with the total worth of transaction coming close to 1.68 billion. We'll be taking a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international and sports news. Welcome back, and now the international news. US deaths from the novel coronavirus surpassed 150,000 on Wednesday, a number higher than in any other country and nearly a quarter of the world's total, according to a Reuters tally. Of the 20 countries with the biggest outbreaks, the United States ranks 6th in death per capita at 4.5 fatalities per 10,000 people. Only the United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, Peru and Chile have a higher per capita rate. The tally shows with US deaths making up nearly 23% of the global total of 660,997. The increase of 10,000 deaths in 11 days is the latest in the United States since early June. The pace of infection has accelerated since the United States passed 100,000 dead on May 27. The US epicenter has also moved to the south and west from the area around New York, which still has by far the highest death toll at more than 32,000. On Tuesday, Arkansas, California, Florida, Montana, Oregon and Texas each reported a record spike in fatalities. The rising numbers have crushed early hopes the country was past the worst of an economic crisis that has declimed the business and put millions of Americans out of work. Health experts have been saying for months that the US outbreak could be brought under control if guidelines to maintain social distancing and wear masks in public were followed everywhere. Iran's elite revolutionary guards fired ballistic missiles from underground for the first time as a part of an annual military drill, Reuters reported. According to the news agency, Amir Ali Hazizadeh, the head of the airspace division of the guards, confirmed the test in a video posted online by a news agency linked to Iran's state TV. The video showed clouds of dust before the missiles streaked into the sky. The military drill in the Gulf, which began on Tuesday, comes at a time of high tension between Tehran and Washington. The United States military said the drill caused 2 bases with American troops in the region to go on heightened alert and said Tehran's missile launches were irresponsible. There have been periodic confrontations in the Gulf in recent years between the Guards and the US military, which has accused the Guards Navy of sending fast attack boats to harass a US warship as they pass the Strait of Hormuz. You're watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Juventus lost 2-0 to Cagliari as Cristiano Ronaldo loses ground in the race for the European Golden Boot. Ronaldo has scored 31 Serie A goals this season but failed to score on a night when Juventus were well below par in all areas of the pitch. Luca Gagliano's close-range finish and Giovanni Simone's powerful drive secured the win for the host. Ronaldo trails Lazio striker Ciro Immobile by 4 goals in the battle for Europe's Golden Shoe. Immobile scored his 35th goal of the season as Lazio beat Brescia 2-0 on Wednesday. With 1 game of the Serie A season remaining, Immobile is the outright leading scorer in Europe as his latest strike moved him ahead of Bayern Munich's Robert Lewandowski, who finished the Bundesliga season with 34 goals. Immobile is also just 1 goal away from equaling the Serie A record for the most goals in a season set by Gonzalo Higuain, who scored 36 times for Napoli in 2015-2016 season. Championship side Brentford overturned a first leg defeat to beat Swansea City 3-2 on aggregate as they book their spot in the Championship playoff final. Andre Ayew had given Swansea a 1-0 lead at the end of Sunday's first leg, and Brentford needed win by clear 2 goals to reach the final. Ollie Watkins composed a finish in the 11th minute, levelled the semi-final on aggregate, and a header from the And the header from Emiliano Martinez put the Bees ahead in the tie 4 minutes later. However, the tie was all but sealed when Brian Bruno volleyed in a cross from Rico Henry in the first minute of the second half to make it 3-0 on the night and 3-1 on aggregate. On loan from Liverpool, Ryan Brewster got one back for the Swans, but it was not enough as the game ended 3-2 on aggregate as Brentford reached the playoffs final. They will now face off against with Cardiff City on Fulham, who take on each other later tonight, with Fulham bringing in a 2-0 lead from the first leg and likely to qualify for finals. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. NCP leaders demand Central Committee meeting, initiate a signature campaign to resolve internal problems of the party. Nepali Congress leadership face backlash ahead of General Convention. Rival faction says setting up departments would influence election. Mahabodh marketplace sealed after confirmation of coronavirus cases. 2 entrepreneurs test positive for the disease. US coronavirus deaths top 150,000. Toll ranks 6th in deaths per capita globally. And Juventus lose to Cagliari as Ronaldo draws blank. Star striker loses ground on European Golden Boot race. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.